All right. Greetings. Welcome back to Blackburn News, home of the Death Star mic. Come on, Death Star mic. Do your stuff. What's up? Ring-tailed fox checking in. Extra bullet checking in. Snow, cold snow. Ring-tailed fox, where are you? You have a feeling it's going to be a long, cold winter? I don't know. Well, very likely. We've had some Windsor, Ontario. Yikes. Yeah, you're up there. Yeah. I've never been to Windsor, but I've been to Detroit many, many times. Just never went across the bridge. Never went across the bridge. Didn't have a reason to or an opportunity to. I wish I did. For as many times as I've been in Seattle, I've never been to Vancouver either. And these are all places I'd like to go. What's up? We're live on Odyssey. I almost said Rockfin. Substack and YouTube. Where either you or the tube, or the tube is for you. It's your tube. I don't know. I always thought why is it so bad up there? You're going to swim across the river? Taking the asylum in the U.S.? That's got to be bad because things are weird here. You know, I feel like people would be going the other way. I got to get out of here. Man, what was I going to say? I had a thought. And it's totally gone. X is weird today. Isn't it always? I'm, you know, shit. What was I going to say? I had something in my mind. Oh, well, it's gone. The empire will find you. Yeah. Yes. That's why you got to just kind of fight back, I think, wherever you're at. Long time ago, I did a show about, I've done several shows where we talked about where to move to be better situated for climate change. And as time goes on, the answer is nowhere. I mean, yeah, there are some places that are, better, but literally every single place is, every place is vulnerable. And one of the best answers I saw to where do you go to escape climate change? And the answer was nowhere. You figure out how to survive where you're at. And I think this, might be the same. A lot of people have left the United States. A lot of people are leaving the United States, and I have conversations with people about leaving the United States. And again, a lot of the conclusions are like, but where do you go? That's not also going to be stupid, right? Borneo, you gotta go really exotic, I think, or you gotta go, South America, somewhere where things aren't, I don't know, maybe so controlled, someplace where things aren't as controlled. Kind of like when they were talking about Mexico and the biometric ID, they were saying like, okay, yeah, Mexico's going to put in this biometric ID, which is scary as all get out, but there's a lot of people in the hinterlands in Mexico. There's a lot of rural residents, and it's like not everybody is hooked into the digital system there. So yeah, for a lot of people, you're going to be forced into this ID thing, but like, how are you going to enforce things when half the country is like, what? Okay. So yeah, the cost of living, there's so many factors in moving somewhere else. So I guess it's like, go where you want to go. If you want to go ahead and go. But I don't know that, every place is going to have its drawbacks. Zapatistas in southern Mexico ain't going to sign up for digital ID. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyways, let's keep going. Well, in order to keep going, you got to actually start. Right? Am I right? Did I say we're live on Substack? The chat is up on Substack, y'all. If you want to come on in. Oh. Okay, now we're back. We are live on Odyssey too. Anybody who wants to watch on Odyssey, we're live. Go ahead, hit the chats up. I will promise to look at the Odyssey chat. All right. Senate vote to end government shutdown ignites Democrat civil war. Go ahead and slap your knee if you're feeling it. There's a Democrat civil war brewing. Okay. Yeah, the only war the Democrats have is with anybody who wants to actually reform the party. So the idea that people that are in the party currently are going to be mad enough and bad enough to take it to the centrists, don't hold your breath. They're calling for Chuck Schumer to step aside. Okay. The 8 critical votes that advanced a short-term spending package on Sunday evening and put the government on a path to reopening also tore the seams of the Democratic Party unity, bringing scrutiny to its shutdown strategy and leadership. Well, for the most part, I think people were all for the Democrats like holding out. Don't cave. You got to hold the line. I mean, it can be painful. They're trying to blame the Democrats, but the Republicans are trying to do things that, that are bad for people. Very, simple description, but the Republicans are trying to go, do the right wing shuffle as usual. And the Democrats were like, well, maybe we don't want to do that. And then they're like, oh, okay, we'll do it. So, a lot of people are pissed off that they caved. Do you think Schumer's going to be replaced? I don't think so. I think whatever this is, this civil war or anger is going to be gone in about 3 days. Just wait for the new John Fetterman is the new Christian cinema. Yeah. I mean, there's always one of these players, Joe Manchin. There's always one of these people. Remember the Joe Manchin Christian cinema dastardly duo. There's always these people that are like, okay, I'll be on the, I'm a Democrat, but sure, I'll go bat for the other team. It's just kind of silly. I mean, that's the whole, this is like the Democrats are going to, the only thing that Democrats are good at is shooting themselves in the foot. And it's becoming kind of obvious, just kind of like the clarity with which people are seeing how, badly Israel and AIPAC control our government. People are becoming so aware of it that they're, it's getting hard to keep going with the story that everybody, seemed to believe 3 years ago. And they're gonna reach a point at which things are gonna, they're gonna have to shift strategy, or they're gonna change, something's gonna change. And the idea that the Democrats are complete utter failures is becoming so apparent that they're like, oh, we should do something like get rid of Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi stepping down, right? Like they're kind of going, well, okay, but there's always going to be some young what were they called, blue dog, were they called blue dog Democrats? What was the other one? Third rail Democrats or whatever it was called. I don't know. Third way, something like that. There's going to always be like a corporate. They're all corporate. But there's, there are guys that are obviously like, third way. Thank you. AAK Clinton. Yes. They were also blue dogs, dinos. Yeah, which Biden was a proud dino. Clinton and Biden, they were all dinos. Obama just saw that, maybe that wasn't a winning tactic when he ran. So he was like, I'll be a progressive. And it worked because people were like, I believe you. And then he was like, just kidding. I'm a blue dog. Ha, ha, ha. Salt Liquor sent me this. There's a lot of commentary on this. But, basically, people might be upset that I spend a lot of time dogging out the Democrats or just talking about how crappy they are. Somehow that equates to like, no, it's not support at all. Trump is the worst thing since, I don't know what, daylight savings. No, I don't know. That's stupid. The worst thing since, whatever, fill in the blank. Shingles. The worst thing since toe fungus. I don't know, something. Trump sucks big time. Republicans suck big time. Just a general take. I don't like Republicans. I've never voted Republican, never been a fan of Republicans or anything that they stand for. There's just no reason for me to go like, I dislike the Democrats so much, I think I'll vote Republican this time. No, I'm a lefty. I'm mad at the Democrats because they are to the right of what leftist politics should be. So why would I go to the right to get the Democrats? That's just dumb, right? That is like dumb thinking. That's kind of like, I've been abused, so now I'm going to go abuse people. I'm going to do something abusive to avenge my abuse. Like, okay. It doesn't work like that. Nothing works out like that. Whatever. I don't know. Phantomas, I don't know. The whole last election, the only thing I had really to say about Trump is that at least he's, saying the words like, we're going to help you, right? Like the same way Obama did, the same way, the Democrats couldn't even do that. That's why they were so lame. That's why the Democrats lost, and that's why they were just so stupid, because they just couldn't even say the words like, we'll offer you something, we'll give you something, we'll do something for you, we have a platform, we will give you, I don't know, whatever, healthcare credits or just something, just anything. And they couldn't give them anything. And when people were like, how about ending the genocide? And they were like, yeah, I don't know, right? Like they just sucked so badly that they lost to Trump. That is how lame the Democrats are. So if you're not seeing that yet, I don't know, maybe this year's the time to notice. But everybody's like, oh, the Democrats spanked the Republicans in the last election. Yay, whoopee, yay for us. That's not a reason to cheer for Democrats. That's a reason to, that's just acknowledging that people hate Trump so much that, maybe we'll go vote this time. Anyways. They let Trump win. They gave the election to him. They basically said, here you go. And that's why you should hate the frickin' Democrats. Here you go. We have nothing. And this is what they do when Trump is president. They're like, here you go. All right. James Lee. It's been a while since we heard from James Lee.
Let me explain. So first, the news just broke that the longest ever government shutdown is finally coming to an end. They're saying that the broad framework for this agreement was negotiated by Senator Angus King, Jeanne Shaheen, and Maggie Hassan, as well as GOP senators, has now, quote, more than enough members of the Senate Democratic Caucus to advance, according to two people granted anonymity to disclose the terms. So then I went to research what was so different about this new bill, and the answer is absolutely nothing. They say that this deal is a pragmatic off-ramp from the initial stalemate, a quote-unquote cleaner CR with some wins for both sides, but it largely kicks the core fights, ACA subsidies, Medicaid cuts down the road without resolution. So why the vote now? Well, it's this. One of the main reasons why the shutdown began in the first place is because the Democrats feared electoral backlash from their base. This is an article from last month, and they said that, quote, it's been clear to them that the American people don't want to see a Democratic Party that capitulates to a Republican extremism. They want a party that stands up for people's health care, that stands up for our democracy, and that's what they're doing now. And that message worked brilliantly for the Democrats. They absolutely shellacked the Republicans in the elections last week. And now Democrats who won their elections last week are coming out and saying, yeah, they can be done with this government shutdown now. Yeah, that big fight over health care, yeah, that is not even in this new bill. So we had a 40-day government shutdown, air traffic, a complete mess, massive bread lines across the country for absolutely no reason. Okay, it's all a freaking game to these scumbags, and the American people are always the one to suffer. Now we know the whole government shutdown thing was always just a big ploy. Let me explain. So first, the news just broke that the longest...
So there you go. You know, if you capitulate and don't even win anything, what's the point of holding out? And it's all theater anyways. Adam McKay, we are at a moment right now where people are asking themselves, why can't the Democratic Party defend this assault on democracy? And I would submit to you that if you can't draw the line at genocide, you probably can't draw the line at democracy. Boom, boom, boom. Nice quote there from Ta-Nehisi. Say it ain't so. Elia Morrow, the fight to save healthcare in the U.S. is absurd. You can't save what doesn't exist. We don't have healthcare. We have a for-profit insurance scam. And I would submit to you that that was the plan all along, was to get Obamacare in and the ACA and give people like subsidies, like, oh, it costs this much, but we'll offset the cost for you. The plan all along was to take those subsidies away. It was a long-term goal, right? They were just cooking this thing for a long time. Yeah, we'll put this thing in and we'll make it palatable. We'll make it, defensible by the fact that, we'll subsidize your health care and make it seem like they were helping you out. Meanwhile, it went up every single year. Those subsidies, got less and less every year, and the cost went up every year. And now it's just like, how about none? How about no? And I'll make a $100 positive, 100% certain bet that was from the very beginning, that it was by design, that eventually they would just take the subsidies away and it was just going to be like super expensive. But again, you're going to break your model by, this is not just bad business, but stupid business. Like these fools can't even, like, they're so greedy and like obvious about what they're doing and uncontrollable. They're not really, they're just not all that smooth about it. But like, you're just going to break your business model and you're going to piss everybody off. And then you're going to, just all of it is bad business. And whether that's ends up kind of tying into the whole like universal balance thing, where you can't, if things get out of hand on the side of evil, right? There's always a balance back to the center somewhere, somehow. Oh, this is a good story. And I always wondered about this. Back when FDR was pushing through all these social safety nets, and Johnson expanded some of them too. I don't know if was Kennedy part of any of that. I don't know. But when FDR, brought in Social Security and I think Medicare was Johnson, and that might have been, let's look it up, shall we? That might have been an appeasement to the healthcare question, because every other like first world nation has free healthcare for its citizens and has for decades. It's been a thing. And now almost every country in the world has healthcare for its citizens except us. which actually points to the fact that it is not only it's not impossible, it's not like, oh my god, so expensive, or how, every country with a far less of a GDP than we have can totally afford to give their citizens healthcare. It's just like not that big of a deal. It's just like, here you go. Not a problem. Here you are. We can do this. But we, and plenty of people eat up the, oh, I don't know, man. It sounds like a lot of money. I don't know if we can do it. Now you're talking about people being killed in Central Park by the brown shirts from Bernie Sanders because they want to give you health care. Just like the level of stupid conversation around this that has happened in the past is astounding. Anyways. You can't say what doesn't exist. We don't have healthcare. We have a for-profit insurance scam. Democrats aren't defending your health. They're protecting their donors. The fix isn't more money for a broken system. It's to abolish health insurance and demand universal healthcare. Well, yeah. Okay, here's what I want to show you. This is the story, or one of the stories, I'm sure there are many, of why we don't have universal healthcare.
Think universal healthcare is a modern, radical idea? Well, the US almost had it in 1945. No insurance companies, no surprise bills, just healthcare for all. But then, the American Medical Association, Big Pharma, and the far right stepped in and dismantled the plan. Post-World War II, Senator Wagner and Murray, along with Representative Dingell, introduced a bill for national health insurance. It was simple, publicly funded, government-backed healthcare for all. The bill was modeled after President Truman's vision for comprehensive healthcare reform, a national prepaid system funded by a 4% payroll tax that would cover all working people, their dependents, and other needy people. Truman called for the insurance fund to cover medical care, nursing, laboratory services, and even dental care. It had the backing of the president, labor unions, and the public. Democrats controlled the House, Senate, and the presidency. So we were this close to Medicare for all. Then who killed the plan? The American Medical Association. The AMA branded the bill as socialized medicine and un-American, then launched an aggressive and decades-long campaign to kill it. They tasked tens of...
And lots of Americans echoed that sentiment that was pushed out there. Oh, yeah, it's un-American. It's socialism. And it works every time. And Jesus, H. Christ. Jesus H. Christ. There's hella people out there listening right now to all, like, some alternative channels that are, the government's so bad. No. I'm not disagreeing with the idea that the government is shitty at the moment, but the thing is like, I don't want the government up in my healthcare. I don't like socialism or communism. But it's, packaged as like a really cool take, hot take, conspiracy take. Nice cover for your Rush Limbaugh, whatever it is, 8.0 retread of the same idea that's been happening every freaking decade for the last 7 decades or 8 decades or 10 decades. I don't know. Whatever.
Thousands of physicians with handing out pamphlets instructing them to warn their patients of the dangers of socialized medicine, and then recruited thousands of corporations to spend $19 million on a coordinated newspaper ad campaign. The goal? Kill the National Health Insurance Act and enroll millions more people in the voluntary private insurance plans. So they didn't just attack the bill, they went after Truman himself, painting him as a socialist sympathizer, the worst thing you could be. And it worked. In 1949, a Gallup poll showed that 59% of Americans supported national health insurance. But by the time the AMA was done, that number had dropped to 24%. They turned public opinion, torpedoed the legislation, and helped drive Truman and his plan out of power. But it didn't stop there. For over 100 years, the AMA has fought nearly every major effort towards universal or single-payer health care. From opposing Medicare in the 1960s to lobbying against the public option in the 2000s, today they remain one of the top 10 lobbyists Congress working alongside big pharma, hospital associations, and the private insurers to keep healthcare in corporate hands. Today, the US remains one of the few industrialized nations without universal healthcare. Keeping America's patchwork system of private insurers was a deliberate strategy to maintain corporate profits, not a necessity. About 25 million Americans are uninsured. Medications are priced like luxury items. For instance, Viberzi, used to treat IBS, can cost $1,100 per month, the same price as a new laptop. This isn't uncommon. Medical costs are the #1 cause of bankruptcy for American families. We didn't choose this system, it was chosen for us by people who profit from your suffering. Universal healthcare isn't some radical fantasy, it's an unfinished promise. We had the blueprint, we had the movement, we had the support. What we lacked was the power to beat back corporate America. So the fight for universal healthcare continues. Perhaps it's time to finish what was started in 1945.
Yeah, but first we got to get over checking in with people that are like, communism bad, socialism bad, government bad. Man, the world would be so much better if we just, let the free market work itself out. That's what the free market does. Whoop. Hopefully that didn't interrupt my hold on one second. It interrupted my thought. Oh, all the people that are like, yeah, let's, totally turn it over to, let the free market prevail. And, it's just every single time the free market will, run amok and take it over everything and exploit people. That's what it does. What is it? The problem is that you have people saying communism is good because it kills people. So what? Yeah, and well, the thing is that we haven't really had any. I think like the democratic socialist/socialist model is probably the best. But you have to have like, I don't know that we've seen any true like communist societies because they're all authoritarian, authoritarian/military. They're not really communist. They're just authoritarian regimes saying that they're communist. So I don't think we have any really like great examples of that. Yeah, democratic socialism, the Nordic model, right? I mean, the European model of democratic socialism is awesome. The thing is that the U.S. won't ever let it happen anywhere else. When they try to do it in South America, they're like, no, thank you. Or Africa or anywhere else. They're like, nope, no. You've gone far enough. Right. The thing with the democratic socialist model is that you have to really, the people have to stay on top of the government, right? You have to make sure that they don't claw back the things that they're giving you, which is what they're trying to do in Europe for sure. Europeans are way more politically savvy, I think, than the U.S. citizens are not really. We're just too busy, like, I don't know, living in the land of freedom or something to notice that we don't have any freedom anymore. All right. I don't know, getting off track here. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? This is kind of cool. Paris turnstiles that generate electricity. It's kind of brilliant, actually. Like, what if you could generate electricity just from maybe people like walking on a pathway or walking, you're just using the motion that's there already. The flow. I know it involves building things and installing things and making things. I know. But as ideas go, it's not a bad one. It's okay. Again, I'm not really like, I prefer that we lived in a very, simple agrarian society with a few technological wonders. Like in my utopian vision, it would be basically, an agrarian society where maybe we have computers and Wi-Fi. That's about it. Maybe some community solar panels here and there to generate power, but that's about it. Like something like super duper simple. And and ride bicycles, and we don't really need motorized things except for once in a while. Maybe have like a community bus or a community tractor or something like that, like just sitting in a garage somewhere that we use once in a while, but you don't really need it because everybody rides bikes. And you don't have to make any more bikes because there are billions and billions of bikes on the planet already. Like there's a bike for every single butt on the planet. We just need to like refurbish them. So no need to build anymore. You can shut those bike companies down. It's okay. We'll survive. And the US is deadly. It can be, yeah. Yeah, people in cars just don't care about people on two wheels. That's true. Where'd all the Substack people go today? Are people hating on Substack? Did y'all hear me swallow that coffee? I feel like that was the biggest swallow of coffee ever. You've been hit by a car 4 times? Jesus. Dang. I'm sorry to hear that. That is unlucky. All right. Let's see. What else have we got? Did you guys know that there was a highway built for the latest COP? What is the number? 33 or whatever? The latest climate convention is in Brazil, and they chopped down a bunch of the Amazon to build a highway for it. Did we already talk about that? This is kind of older news, but because they had to build it all year. But the conference is going on right now, or has been going on, or already ended. I don't know. Is it happening right now? That's how inconsequential this is. Like, why tune in for this corporate schmooze fest? That is not going to change one thing. COP 33. All right. So, Amazon rainforest cut down for climate summit highway. Tens of thousands of acres of the Amazon rainforest are being cut down so a new highway can be built in preparation for November COP 30 climate summit. COP 30. Is it COP 30? All right. I thought they said 33. The BBC reports that the preparations for the highway have already deforested some of the protected rainforest. This is why nobody tunes into this anymore and why it's a joke. They should stop having these because they're actually making it worse for people who care about the environment. They're making it harder for people, for people to care because they're just like, these, whatever. COP30 is a climate event. Newsweek contacted COP30 and the Brazilian government via email for comment. Yeah, so that's happening. And okay, got a couple more things to cover today. It's really hot in Mexico. 108 at Casanate, Sinaloa, Mexico. This is today. 108 today. Apparently it's freezing in Florida and 108 in Mexico in November. Second hottest night in November history in Honduras. 82 degrees in November. All right, we're going to talk about contrails, not for too long. Something new out about flight emissions are way higher than carbon calculators suggest. Well, sure. But this is what I wanted to see from Thomas Rees. Contrails responsible for 1 to 2% of global heating. With easy solutions that we can implement now. So they're saying that if planes flew at different altitudes, a few planes flew at different altitudes, it would reduce the climate impact of contrails by 80%. Anybody else have any confirmation of this? I guess. I mean, they add to heating, but they also are like they also add to cooling. So I think they don't really know totally. And the fact that they actually make contrails or make clouds is pretty good evidence that they know that there's some cooling action going on too. And the consequences of the overall heating action, they just don't care about. Just fly higher, bro. I know, it's kind of weird. When I saw this, I was like, it seems the numbers don't really make a lot of sense to me. But if you're not talking about contrails being created, you're not I don't consider you a serious part of the conversation, because it's quite obvious that they're on purpose in several places. So how can you have a conversation about contrails when you're like, they're not all accidental, right? I'm sure some of them are. I'm sure some are just natural contrails. I'm positive, but they, it's just far too obvious that they're being manipulated. And I'm not talking about chemtrails. I'm talking about the fact that it's very simple and easy. They already know that some contrails turn into clouds. And if you know that, well, that's a very easy thing to manipulate. If you know that some contrails turn into clouds, well, and you go, well, if we made some clouds, maybe that would, XXX. Well, then you could just make some clouds. And the whole geoengineering we might have to block the sun someday is just such a dumb conversation. Because I'm sure they're already doing it on some level. And so I don't, it's hard to have a conversation around this because there's so much like manipulation and misinformation around what's happening. And it's unfortunate that like climate people won't take a hard look at what's going on. They won't admit to the idea that they're being created, which I think is really obvious. It's very, very obvious. To me, it's just really obvious. That doesn't mean just because I think that they're creating contrails doesn't mean that I think like, oh, all the weather is manipulated and everything's fake. No, I don't believe that. I just believe it's a point of manipulation on their part in order to keep temperatures from. What I notice is that on days, what they've been doing lately is being a little more calculated with it. Just a brief observation. Like it's not so willy-nilly anymore. Like it used to be just every day, all day, whenever we can. But now they kind of pick their spots. Like if it's a warm day in the summer, maybe they won't go for it. But it's like if it's really warm, they might go for it. Or if there's an event happening, I've actually seen them do the contrails when there's like a Dodger game, like in October or November, and it's really, really hot. And they're like, yeah, we don't want people to be too uncomfortable, so let's lay down a few clouds out there so that we can kind of give everybody some shade. That's absolutely been done. I've watched it happen with my own eyes. So you can't tell me any different. You could spend all day long trying to explain to me why what I was seeing wasn't real, and I'll just tell you, nope. Stop talking because you're wasting your time. Anyways, yeah, they're more targeted, I think, lately. They just do it they don't do it just every day. They'll just pick a day, or if it's the middle of winter and it's going to be 100 degrees or just, something off the charts, then they'll definitely lay some down so that they can keep people from going like, why is it 105 in January? Like, because that would be kind of out of the norm. That would be out of the pocket of norm. Like that would be like, whoa, something is very off. I don't know. What was it? When was the year? 8 years ago. Was it 8 years ago? So the Dodgers were in the World Series several years ago, and the first day of the World Series, it was at Dodger Stadium. It was 102 degrees, and it was like, I don't know, early November or late October. 102. So it was like way out of the pocket of norm, and people were like, what the, I know it's warm late in the season, but 102 is kind of yeah. I don't know. Has anybody heard about this? If planes just flew higher or lower, we can keep, I don't know. Something. It's just too much to talk about in that one. All right. Off the beaten path for what we generally talk about, but I guess we talk about AI and the scariness of AI. And AI is a subject that we talk about. You doubt it would work? What do you mean? Oh, you're talking about the thing. Yeah. You need to go faster and burn more fuel. Yeah, I don't, that's yeah. Well, again, there's a lot that goes into that discussion, and people are leaving out a big portion of the discussion. So there's, some of the things that are going on. So you can't really have a discussion about it because you're leaving out evidence that people don't want to acknowledge. And so I don't know how we talk about it. Hold on. We're going to pause for a second. Denver says, I was just thinking of a movie I had not remembered or thought of in decades and seen since 7 or 8. Had no idea what the name was. I hadn't searched for it in any way at all. Right now on my YouTube, suggested vids is that movie. Yes, Denver. 1985 kid sci-fi film, Explorers. Bro, are you going to come on the show? Are we going to have a discussion about Sabrina Wallace? Sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot. I haven't been listening to her lately. I've been kind of taking a little bit of a break from like taking in too much information. Just because I have a lot to do, and I'm just okay. Cool, come on the show, man. Let's talk about it. I want to kind of have a discussion about what she's saying. I have watched plenty of her videos in the last. I'm full. I'm on full right now of information and like things to think about, and I have a lot to do, and I just don't want to. I've been tuning out of like everything, even the news. Like I tune into the news when I get the show together, and kind of throughout the day I'm seeing things happening. I see things are going on, but I'm not like tuned into news like. So I haven't been tuning into anything, but okay. So to get back to what you're saying, Denver, and this, so I was listening to Sam Tripoli, and one of his guests on one show was like, I was thinking about something. What did he say? How did he put it? He said, I was thinking about something, and I was given like an AI video about exactly the thing that I was thinking about, and he was like, "Whoa!" He like had to step back. So and the way this ties into Sabrina Wallace and it's I'm really on the fence about her a lot of times, but like the information is what I'm interested in. And she's talking about the fact that they can already manipulate all kinds of things with the technology that they have just through radio waves, just through Wi-Fi, the things that are already surrounding us, right? There's she claims that they can already, so and given that, that being a given, hacking the biofield, exactly that being a given, they already have like I wanted to call it brain to skull, but that doesn't make any sense. Like brain to interface, whatever, computer to brain interface technology through the air, not through any, like not Neuralink, not anything like that. They can already manipulate, they can see your thoughts, manipulate your thoughts, and or manipulate your body just by waves, transmissions. And and it's totally plausible. In my mind, and I have had that experience too, Denver, where I have totally not talked about something that was going on that I was concentrating on, right? Something that I was looking at, concentrating on, but never verbalized anything out loud about anything, about what it is that I was concentrating on. And all of a sudden I started getting ads and stuff about the thing I was thinking about, basically. the thing I was looking at and thinking about, but never verbalized. And I wasn't looking at it on the computer. I was looking at it in the world. And I started getting ads for it. And I was like, oh, whoa, whoa. And that has happened to me with a couple of things a couple of times. And so, yeah, man, we should talk about voice to skull. Thank you. Voice to skull, or computer to brain, computer to skull. I don't know. Remote brain interface. Sure. So the thing, like the thing that I've been tuning into with Sabrina Wallace and what she's just explains a lot about how, this technology has already been studied and implemented. And I wish there was a better spokesperson for it, because she is just hard to take for me. Other people might just completely love her. I just, sometimes you just vibe with a personality, and that's, why there needs to be different points of information on the internet for the same thing, right? Several people talking about the same subject, because personality is a thing. And sometimes you just don't vibe with the personality, or the personality is just not a good spokesperson for the thing that they're talking about, because the way that they're talking about it tends to turn people off. It tends to make people go, and other people, it totally turns them on. So like, it's whatever. But Sabrina Wallace is just hard for a long period of time. I cannot take I can't take her communication style, because I just go, click off, she comes across like a nutbag, and it's just not, if you want people, it's hard for people to see themselves. And especially people who are like savants and people who are really like that is the problem. That has been a problem through millennia, is that the people with really important transmissions have been easy to call crazy, right? Easy to paint as like, this person's a little bit off, and right, like, that's why you call people conspiracy theorists, because you can just paint them as crazy because they're over there thinking crazy thoughts. They're a conspiracy theorist, and everybody goes, oh, right. And so I actually don't feel good talking about Sabrina in this way. I don't feel good talking about it, because I think she's an authentic person, and I think that what she's trying to do is a good thing. And so I don't want to disparage her, but it is just hard to listen to her. So I'm just being real. But I do like that what she's doing, and I like what she's trying to do, and I appreciate her work. I just I wish there was like a balancer. Anyways. All that being said, let's talk about it, Denver, because I think the information is key. Okay. All that being said, AI is a problem. We have just had an AI artist, meaning totally artificial. There is no human element in this artist that was created. I'm assuming on Spotify or on digital platforms. Reach number 1 on a chart, on a Billboard chart. That's freaking scary. What does that mean? Like, do you want to listen to AI music? Does anybody want to listen to AI music? Would you, I'm sure there's a lot of people that can't tell, that might just be listening to Spotify and be like, I like this jam. And granted, there's a lot of cookie cutter artists that just make stuff that sounds like other stuff, right? Like, that's a way to generate money. If you're an artist and you're not like trying to be, and there's no, or maybe there's just no way that you're going to be like a famous, artist personality, but you're a musician and you're pretty good at what you do, like there are a lot of musicians out there that just crank out like genre specific stuff and put it on Spotify, and that's cool. Like, do it, right? You just, you're a good musician, you're in a cool band, and you're kind of making stuff that sound, there's all kinds of genres, but like that's what people do. But to have AI get into that game is a little scary. Because it just eliminates the need for anybody to actually do that stuff. And that's kind of sad, because if you're a musician and you want to actually just make music. Listen to this. Well, we talked about this. Spotify has an AI music problem, but bots love it. Fake listeners are flocking to AI-made songs on streaming platforms, taking much-needed money away from human artists. I mean, think about it. You have fake music on these platforms, and then fake people listening to the fake music, and you're like, oh, look at all these streams that this has, and it's taking money away, right? Those streams are generating income. I mean, what if the fake artists are just created by the platforms themselves, which they probably are? You create these fake, so people are paying like this monthly subscription. It actually makes me want to I actually have a monthly subscription to Spotify, and I shouldn't, but I do, because it's for reasons. I have reasons, okay? But I don't subscribe to any other platforms. That's the one that I do, and I do it for a specific reason. But all that being said, if you're paying a subscription to these platforms and they're taking a slice of the revenue pie, I mean, it's fraud is what it is. It's basically fraud. Which all these platforms are committing on one level or the other, right? If you're limiting accounts or limiting reach, or running ads on an account and you're not paying out for those ads that you're running, I mean, all of it is fraud. They're committing fraud, like on all kinds of levels, all of these platforms. I don't know. I wish that somebody would talk about it, and maybe I wish that there would be some kind of class action lawsuit by people in general, right? If the users of all these platforms were like, you're committing fraud, right? You're running ads and not paying people for the watch time, and you're scraping our data, and then you're limiting the reach of things that you don't want to be heard. You're just committing fraud on like so many levels. It'd be nice if they all were sued for this kind of stuff. I don't know that they would stop. Improvising and banging out a unique composition formed by your day and attitude is a gift enough for me. It's personally fulfilling. Right on. Yeah. Yep. So it's wild. This has been talked about a lot. So here in the news, AI generated country singer tops Billboard charts for the first time. An entirely AI generated country singer by the name of Breaking Rust. It's just stupid enough to be real. The trick to success is to make your band name stupid as hell, right? Like people that sit around trying to think of like really cool band names. Don't waste your time. The dumber the band name, the better. Like if your band name is just really dumb, Smashing Pumpkins. Is that a good name? I guess it's okay. Whatever. The dumber the band name, the better. Breaking Rust. Just bad enough to be good. Just last week, Billboard revealed at least one musician created by artificial intelligence is appearing in the charts with each passing week. Now an AI-generated artist has topped one particular chart. The Billboard Country Digital Song Sales chart. Topping that chart is a track called Walk My Walk, and it comes from an artist called Breaking Rust. However, none of it is real, as Whiskey Riff first reported. Whiskey Riff. There's a bad, dumb band name. One of my band names. What was one of your band names, Denver? I don't even remember what I said. But what? Are you serious? Are you being serious? I don't know. I don't know if you're being serious or joking. Hot Damn was one of your band names. Hot Damn. Yes. Great name. Going south works for me. I told you all, my favorite band name right now is Weather Machine. I think it's freaking great. Okay. There are no physical instruments involved, and no one stood in front of the microphone to record the vocals. Every part of it, from the guitar riffs to the lyrics, it's all been generated by AI, as described. It's music for the fighters and the dreamers. Well, is it? We fight and we dream of a day when there aren't AI artists taking up space on the Billboard chart? What the hell? You said you wanted stupid band names. The dumber the better. Oh, so you're going to give me a bunch? Cool. Thanks. Has anybody named a band? Somebody should name a band Charlie Kirk. Captain Kirk. Kirk out. I think Kirk out. Kirk out. That could be, there's levels to that name, right? Okay, I just thought about that one for a second. It's going to move to the number one spot in Japan. Yeah. Yeah, so this sucks. There's AI, people listening to AI songs, or maybe the people aren't listening. Maybe it's just all fake streams. The music business is going down in flames. It's all I hear from actual musicians is like, oh man, it's, and it's getting harder and harder. Somebody actually had that's a good one. I like it. Somebody actually had a post about the fact that they sold 4 records at their show, a musician, and she was like, that's more than I would make for 20,000 streams on Spotify. I don't even think you'd make one record. 20,000 streams is not a lot of streams. I think you'd make that much if you got like 500,000 streams or something. I don't know what they pay out. Shekels Shlomos. That's good. Big in Japan. Solar powered flashlight. All right, guys. I gotta sign off. This show has gone overtime, and I've got to move on with my day. But thank you for watching. If you want to support the show, you know how to do it. There's lots of links in the description box of whatever platform you're watching on, or you can donate via Substack. You could sign up for a subscription or Patreon, etc. You know what to do. Thanks for being here. Thanks to everyone. We'll see you tomorrow at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific. Until next time, beware. Bye. Bye.